Ahoy there, mateys! Welcome aboard the Riff, Raff podcast. We are the pirates of the spicy waters. Come along with us and hoist the sail. We're navigating life through story and tale. We'll help you embrace the way you're wired, sharing laughs and lessons to get you inspired. If you join us, we will help you see there are a lot of ways to sail the neurospicy sea.
Little Bo Peeps. It is this kind of a morning, isn't it? Where even you are doing this.
Started out with rumors of me being pregnant, so according to Paul.
I mean, when you're aglow, you know.
And he's doing the evil mustache thing. Woo, wow.
Yeah.
Here we go, folks. Welcome.
You're welcome, and thank you.
Get real. Good morning, and welcome to Across the Desk and the Riff Raff podcast. And we are truly living up to the name today. There's a whole bunch of neurospicy in the waters, and I believe we're all taking a sip. And Paul's doing simultaneous happy to be here and already exhausted faces. So we think we're live. We don't know. We'll see what happens. Dashboard. What are we on? Riverside is giving us the business. Like,
you okay, Maddie?
What was
I was just checking to see if I'm alive. Right? See, are we live?
Okay. I was like,
it was a visual pun.
Do an elephant trunk or something.
No, that's this.
Go Lordy, this is going to be something. Buckle up, folks.
I didn't do the elephant call, which my kids love when I do. So I held it.
Elephant trunk joke, but I can't tell it here.
Aren't you glad Paul can't tell the elephant trunk joke? Okay, so
I know that would just drive us bananas.
Oh, well done. Okay, so good morning again. Our focus today is
Gone.
So gone. So everybody, just for context, if this is their first time joining us, this is pretty much how every podcast starts.
And every meeting too.
At every team meeting, 100% true. In that, there's usually some kind of levity, brevity, and bad jokes and puns. And then everybody weighs the potential for encouraging Maddie and giving points for a pun because we know that through loving encouragement that could multiply like what were those little things on Star Trek?
Tribbles.
Yeah.
Yeah, the trouble with
tribbles.
The trouble with tribbles.
Jinx.
So the trouble with tribble in our world is that equates to puns, which equates to Maddie going, let me chase that one again. So it's all good. I feel like
however, I do have a co-conspirator these days in Mr. I have gears above my head, but I need a thought bubble too, Paul Coleman.
I'm aware. You make me feel like a grandma. I'm aware. So today we're continuing our chats around conversation and communication and connecting with how to ask for help and what that might look like for everybody. I'm hoping that the folks that need it have a certain amount of caffeine in their system, and we're just going to cross our fingers at this point. So starting with my right, Senora Maddie. Can you introduce yourself? Yeah.
I just asked for help. Yeah. Okay. I'm Maddie Deffer. I'm just a wee bit autistic, maybe a lot more autistic and ADHD. And I have 4 kids who share the gene pool with me and are autistic too. Very neurodivergent.
Swimming deep.
Yep. We won the neurodivergent jackpot.
I got like the Nobel Prize of autism.
Yes, but it dings a lot though, so I think there is a bell.
No, you don't get points for that one. Okay. Mr. Coleman?
Yes. Oh, hi, my name's Paul.
And I have ADHD. ADHD. Tell me you have ADHD.
I have ADHD. If you didn't. Yeah, I am, and depending on who you ask, I have other things involved. But I'm a father of four that have ranging in their neurospiciness, and yeah, I'm happy to be here.
There's some rhythm in the tism. Okay. Swashy. I nicknamed Sydney Swashy. We haven't decided.
But what's I don't know what the context is. I think that's why.
It's like a pirate.
I know it's a pirate, but just like, how did that come to your mind?
I'll explain why that came to my mind in a couple of minutes. But go.
We're having thunderstorms too, by the way. Yay!
We're just nodding at this point.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sydney Elaine Butler. I'm a dog mom, and my dog is here, so I might have to come off camera occasionally because she number one priority always, besides myself. And I am neurodivergent, if you can't tell, with this lovely group of people, and really just trying to help other people find their voice when I find my voice. And just this world sadly wasn't created and designed with us in mind, and so instead creating spaces and safe spaces where we can not only survive but thrive as neurodivergent folks.
And interestingly enough, a lot of engineers and other folk in the designing world are likely tismed, and it just seems ironic. The people designing the world, or building the world, are tismed, and it's not inclusive. That's super.
Do you remember designing women?
Don't get me started on Julia Sugar. Don't.
Sorry.
Don't do it. Hi, my name is Elizabeth. I'm an ADHD-aholic. So, parent of two. We got a lot of neurospicy in our family as well. My husband is dyslexic. Our son is autistic, dyslexic, and ADHD. My daughter's just been formally diagnosed with ADHD. And since my husband wasn't, we're kind of process of elimination. I am the source of the glow. Paul's looking with a curious face.
I didn't understand what you just, the action you just created did with your hand.
I'm the source of the ADHD.
Oh.
Yeah, gesturing to all of me to reference How to Train a Dragon.
Got it.
Yeah, it wasn't shocking when we figured that out. So we're all neurospicy in some capacity, in addition to being parents of neurospicy folks, likely coming from neurospicy folks. There's a lot of spice. I was listening to Spice World yesterday. Spice Girls, spice up your life.
Spice up your life. Da, 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 spice up your life. Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of hard to dance to when you're driving.
Are you driving right now? Oh, you're talking about before yesterday. Okay, got it.
Talking about yesterday.
If this is what I'm driving with, if you look at my background, that's frightening.
Well, okay, but our backgrounds can all be fake, right? Like Paul doesn't actually have gears above his head. Like honestly.
What? Hey, speaking of communicating and asking for help.
I want to
help. That looks like Wile E. Coyote. Okay. We know it's real. It's okay.
I was just checking.
This is what happens when Paul gets all that sleep. Stuff goes off the rails.
Paul's an avatar.
Spectacles, testicles, wallet, socks.
Yes.
That's how.
Yes. I don't.
Check
yeah. One of the three. You got it.
I don't know. Paul's face just made a concerned face.
Just checking.
Just going to spectacles, wallet.
Yes, but okay. No, this could be whatever.
Yeah, we won't go into
testicles. Let's stop.
We'll stop at testicles. So, one of the things I would say all of us have struggled with in some capacity or another is advocating and asking for help. And part of that is a lot of us did not know when the time was right to be advocating for help. We didn't know what to ask for. I'm late discovered Paul is also late discovered. Maddie is partially late discovered. He's kind of, they're kind of.
I'm half and half.
They're half and half. They go both ways.
Well, not far from the
podcast.
truth.
That's another podcast.
We're designing queens here. Yeah.
Seriously, love that show so much. And then Sydney, you're also half and half, I think.
Yes,
you?
I'm also half and half. Yes, that is correct.
You discovered part as a youth and part as an adult?
Yes, that is correct.
Yes. I'm not referring to the fact that Sydney's biracial, in case anybody's watching the
I'm
video
also
and
half and
think-
half that way. Yes, and
Yes, I know, but I would never use that term because that's disrespectful.
I'm also bisexual. That's another half.
There we go. We got all the halves here. Half off today, half off tomorrow. You got a half. You got a half.
I'm feeling very left out, but I have half and half in my coffee. So
There you
It's all good.
Yes, we got some queens and we got some cream. There we go.
Oh, that could be a whole nother pot. Anyway, moving on. So one of the challenges for myself, I'll kick off with me. We'll try and bring it back. We've had 10 minutes of tomfoolery. Like
It's one of those days.
Yeah, it's actually the name of one of my biggest bunny rabbit that I have, which is almost as tall as Cat, is tomfoolery.
That's very appropriate.
I know it.
How many here? So we are all a variety of vintages. How many here got taught in school or by parents how to ask for help? Paul's got some background noise going on. Are you printing, Paul? Oh, okay. But who got taught how to ask for help?
I feel like that's such a complicated question because, like you were saying, like what is appropriate? How do you ask for help? I think there's like the ways I was taught to ask for help wasn't necessarily the way I need to ask for help. And
Ooh,
so,
okay, tell me more.
what I mean by that is it's like I think also being a literal thinker, being autistic, it's like this is what you can ask for help, right? And it's like, oh, these are the only things I can ask for help about, right? And I would see that I had different struggles than my classmates or even my cousins in my family or like different people that were relational and like around the same age as me, but there was like some subtle differences. And so I was like, can I actually ask for help like this? Or it's like, or I think I was also, for the longest time, my needs seemed so different than other people's needs that I didn't know that my needs were valid and so that made it challenging to ask for help for those specific things.
Sorry, I'm sending Paul a message so he doesn't think I am muting him for any other reason. There's some weird noise in the background, Paul. I don't know what it is, but I want to hear you. Yeah, so I muted you. So you have to unmute yourself.
there's no noise here.
When I muted you, it went away because your little doodad is moving when you're not talking.
Yeah, it's a kind of a sound like rushing water, but there's like a little bit of feedback of what we're saying. Like it's kind of like it's not the main sound, but it's there.
Yeah, they just had a moment. Anyway, moving on. So that was really, I never thought about it that way, Sydney, that when we are taught to ask for help, so of certain age groups, right? So we look at our first decade of life. So 0 to 10, we're learning to ask for people to reach for stuff for us, or we're learning to ask for help getting dressed or getting, like all of those types of things. But those are all life skill based and very situational and specific. Mm-hmm. So that ability to then extrapolate from that this is how I could ask for help in other ways wouldn't naturally occur for some folk.
When I was younger, I had absolutely no fear of asking anything from anybody of the things that I needed. I think that sort of got worked out of me or changed in my teens. In terms of like, I've always felt that I've always been able to, when I need help, to go do the steps I need to do to ask for help and receive it. But I've had a real challenge with the term self-advocate and self-advocacy, because when it comes to needing help for anything and anybody else or anything, absolutely none, no issues whatsoever. But when it's needing help for myself, that's where it breaks down or becomes impossible. And I had no fear of it and no challenge with it when I was in my first 10 years. But my other problem, the bigger challenge I had was not asking her for help, thinking I didn't need it, and having if things went well, it was great. If things went wrong, there'd be a wake I'd leave, and I had no idea.
That's a whole. So we need to put a pin in that somewhere, because we're going to get into that. I was oddly, cockily confident as a kid. Like, it hasn't changed much, but I did.
You said it.
Hey, name it and claim it.
I am. But even it did not occur to me not to do something. It didn't occur to me not to try something. It didn't occur to me. I just, and that could be the ADHD. I recently traveled back to Rosemere, Quebec, which is where I was born. And some of my earliest memories are just impulsively trying stuff and not asking for help. Matches, stuff like that. And I just figured I would figure it out. Like, it didn't occur to me not to try, even though I was 6 years old and it wasn't age appropriate. And I was also raised with a British set of parents, and it was very stiff upper lip, just get it done. Ooh, apparently I'm having a meeting tomorrow. And I wonder if that's partly like those experiences from 0 to 10. Paul, did you have similar, because you're only child?
No, yeah, no.
Okay, not expecting on that.
That mic drop, done.
No is a complete sentence. Okay, are we leaving it there, or
no. I don't have much to offer in the way of having trouble asking for help or when I was young.
That's good.
And today, I do find I ask for help in tasks and stuff. But I've recognized that the reason I do that is because I need a body double to get anything done.
Oh, that's cool.
So, I used to to get anything done, I have to ask for help from somebody. And it's not that I need help doing the task. I just need a body double. So in that aspect, and it took me a while to figure that out. Like, I didn't know why I always had to ask people to help me do something. And then I would just do it all myself if I knew how to do it. If I didn't, then obviously that's why I asked for help. But it clicked after learning a little more about ADHD that it's a body doubling is a real thing, and it's a real help.
So one of the things, what Paul's referring to is it's borrowing energy from another person to keep you focused and to keep you on task, right? And it doesn't necessarily, it's interesting because one of the signs of my son being autistic was parallel play. And he was completely fine to play on his own. I have always been completely fine. I'm very happy to play with others. I'm very happy to play on my own. I have no, I go both ways on that as well. So, but they brought it to my attention that he would exclusively parallel play. He did not want to. Not that I don't know that he didn't want to. Like, my son and Paul are very much alike in that they're both very friendly and social and just kind individuals at heart, and like to play with others, but are okay in their own space. It really bothered the nursery school teacher that Thomas was okay with parallel play. And what I think was happening, now that we put that together, is that he was following along with what everybody else was doing, but he wanted to do his own thing. And playing alongside people allowed him to use their energy and focus on what he wanted to do. So that's cool, Paul. Like, I'm glad you discovered that. Especially being a business owner, like, you need to be able to manage those distractive pieces of your brain.
That's interesting. I have to think about that, because when it comes to creative things that I do in my business, I don't need a body double. In fact, I don't want to be distracted at all. Don't distract me, because then I'll be off doing a million other things. But if it's a physical task where I have to like stay in one place and get something done, then I definitely
So is it interesting versus important?
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
My kids struggle with cleaning rooms or doing things like that if somebody's not there with them. But for other things, like, they're like, honestly, get us in a room. You go to our house, and we're all there. There's 4 or 5 of us, all sitting on a couch on our phones, and we are happy as pigs in a
blanket.
Yeah, there.
I don't think pigs in blankets are very happy.
Well, they don't know any different. Now they're darn tasty.
That's right.
But so that's it. So that's a different. So yes, but that's a different form, right? So in that moment, though, if you have 5 people in a room and they're all enjoying each other's company, when we get back to asking for help, how would each of them do on their own, say in school or in the workplace or what have you?
It's been
out of unfamiliar territory.
Yeah. So I think my youngest this has been the biggest area of growth that I've seen, is coming from somebody who just had no idea how to help or how to ask for help or even when to ask for help, to being able to, stop things and say, hey, I'm having this challenge. I need help here now. I think it has been going from her biggest challenge to something that I feel that she's grown into. And I think of my eldest. I think of my oldest daughter. Learning. She's learning to ask for help way more. Like she's bringing me into a conversation to work things out way earlier than when things are about to fall apart. It's been amazing to see, because she was one especially who I don't think thought she needed help, and like me would leave a bumbling wake when the things that she didn't think she needed help for and she did fell apart. I'm really seeing that now. I think it's not asking for help, like self-advocacy. That whole concept is such a challenging foreign thing.
So are those two different things, though? And I'm asking, I'm not saying. Because when I think of asking for help and I think of self-advocacy, I see them as 2 separate avenues to getting what you need. So like asking for help to me is more skill-based or task-based, and self-advocacy is for accommodation or inclusion-based. If that makes sense.
That's not. I mean, self-advocacy is when they're trying to work with our kids to, teach self-advocacy. It's about asking for help in every situation that needs it. It's okay. So I don't like the term because it's either broad or narrow, and it's some people think of it in just terms of accommodation and accessibility, but that's not like it means a lot and also means nothing at the same time.
Well, you can't leave it there. I mean, you could, but that was really good. So,
okay. I mean, I look at, I've watched all of the helping folks try to work with my kids and other autistics, and there's modules on helping learn self-advocacy skills, and they're when they're broad, it's about, okay, you're having a challenge doing something, or you don't understand something in the lesson that you're being taught. What do you need to do to get the attention of the person that could help you with asking a question, asking them to look at it differently, asking them to rephrase?
okay.
That's the skills that have been taught. Now, I have been helping her find her own voice and being able to, like interrupt and being able to yell, being able to do all the things that she needs to do, and through it, like in a safe space, and through it, she's realized that she has a voice, and she feels more comfortable. So the things that she's been taught of how to do it, plus understanding that she has a voice, is enabling her to actually do it more often.
So I wonder, and this is going out to everybody. Paul's looking something up, I think. I don't know. I'm hearing a click. Paul and I were at an event.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you.
Paul and I were at an event, and it was a crazy, crazy busy event. It was loud. It was noisy. And Paul was standing maybe 3 feet to my left on my good ear, because I am hard of hearing in my right ear. And under it all, I could hear this.
Let's all do it.
What the shit nuggets is that? And I'm looking everywhere, and then I look over. So Paul's also 6 foot large, like 6'3". 2. Sorry, I gave you an extra inch. You should. Also, just told me to do something rude. And I look over, and I can see his hand in his pocket in a good way. And then I identified
HR.
And I turned and I was like, I think you're awesome and I love you to bits and pieces, but if you don't stop that clicking, I'm going to advocate all over you. It's like, just find something else. Anyway, it's weird little noises. Go ahead. Paul had strong feelings about that. No?
It's such a safe space here.
You can feel the safety through the screen.
Absolutely.
There's going to be some safety, let me tell you.
Is it safety or is it a jail? I don't know.
What's that? I know. It's terrible. We semi have an agreement on quiet focus things.
Quiet hands.
Quiet hands. What's that?
Oh God.
I have a new fidget ring.
Oh, nice. Okay. What do I have? This little thing. Who introduced Paul?
This segment is brought to you by the fidget company that doesn't exist.
Yeah, which is going to, because Paul's a great 3D printer. I totally lost my train of thought. Any road. So
clicking.
Well, no, we're not going to do that, because clicking is a form of asking for help in my brain. Because if somebody's using a distractor or a fidget thing or whatever, is that to help manage what else is going on? I always take that as a sign that somebody's potentially having a struggle. Because if they're reaching for that, is something else going on? So I don't initially say anything, but I do watch the rest of somebody else's body language. We had this, so one of the events that we go to quite frequently is, and Paul's coming next year, is the Leadership Summit. And so I've grown accustomed to watching what people are doing to manage in the room and paying attention to whether that's still working or not. Because if I can see somebody using a fidget thing or a whatever, but I can see distress growing on their face, one, I worry, have they ever been taught how to ask for what they need? And to Sydney's point, didn't know what to ask for. Maddie, you had a strong thought about that?
I was just going to say, or it could be pee-pee on the stage.
Yeah, that would stress it. Anyway.
That's a whole other point.
That's a whole other point, but that's the face. And that was the face.
That's fair. So PP for context was Pierre Poilievre, who made an appearance at the conference, and everybody was doing something to control their
feelings,
inner chaos. So what other kinds of things? I'm really stuck on this. When are we taught to ask for help and how? Is it a direct lesson? Do we forget when I think my kid's leaving. Hang on a minute. I got to shout.
Yeah. Not a Mexican Oreo in this case.
No, it's a departing Vanessa with a broken foot. But like in kindergarten, we're taught to take turns.
Kindergarten, I was just like, I moved school 6 times in kindergarten.
Oh, hecky, sound.
What?
Oh, wow.
Yes, you heard me. 6 times.
6 times what? I missed the first.
I moved 6 times in kindergarten. I moved 6 times to different schools. And then even one school, it wasn't even really a school. It was like, which is now there's now a prison there, but it was just like, they just had to put us somewhere, so they stuck us there.
That was a segue.
That's interesting because the metaphor of school for a lot of us is the school's a prison.
Well, you're not wrong. But I'm just trying. I mean, it's been a minute since I've been in kindergarten, but like K to 5, do we actively teach kids how to ask for help, when to ask for help? Right?
Like, I am wondering if it's that, okay. If that was missing with my kids.
I'm wondering if it's missing for a lot of kids, because if kids aren't taught how to ask for help, when to ask for help, those types of things, you can be in a situation. So my son had an EA for a lot of the years between K to 5. And I bring that up because the challenge was she took away his ability to ask for help, because she was being, and I understand that's the job, but she was being very proactive and doing things for him versus teaching him how to ask for help and having him do it himself. Yeah,
modeling it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was not used to the point where I had to go in and intervene and go, okay, this is not what happens at home. At home, my kids are taught, go and try it. And then like I show them how to do it once or twice. And then if it didn't work out, that's okay. Come and ask me. Yes, I might get annoyed because I'm not the most patient person on the planet. That doesn't mean I'm mad. Stop it. There's a lot of revelations today. And like, but just come and say, Mom, this didn't work or whatever, and I will come and help you. But I'm really stuck on this.
And like we mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, I am biracial. I am half and half. And so that was an interesting dynamic too, because so growing up, my dad would work long hours, but he would still do the majority of things around the house. And my mom's a nurse by trade and for her profession. And so she wouldn't do a lot around the house, frankly. And so, and then my dad would work Saturdays. And I say this because I feel like I had to do a lot of things for me and my brother because my mom was too tired to do them for us. But then if I made a mistake or because I feel like I couldn't ask her for help because she was so tired and because she would snap at us, unfortunately. And there was some anger and things there that I won't get into too much detail about. But that also impacted my ability to ask for help because I was, when Dad's home, I can ask for help. I can, but if it was just me, my mom, and my brother, I feel like I had to kind of fuck around and find out, for lack of a better term. Scandal.
I'm totally
But if I did make a mistake, or she saw me making a mistake and she didn't teach me to do better or didn't help, she would yell at me, right? And so that's why I think I basically for so long is like, well, I can ask for help some of the times when my dad's around, but not when my mom's around. And if I make a mistake, then then I'm kind of shamed for that, and it's like this vicious cycle, which also perpetrated into the school system. And some teachers, sometimes I would be so afraid to make a mistake because I didn't want to be yelled at.
Yeah.
And I feel like I could only ask for help from my dad, and so other adults and teachers, I felt like I couldn't. I like some teachers, okay, we kind of build a rapport with them and start asking them for help. But if I didn't feel comfortable or didn't feel safe around them, I was like, they're gonna yell at me like my mom does at home, right? And I did have teachers that actually did end up yelling at me too, right? And so, or like I would phrase things differently, or again take it very literally. And so it was like, when can I ask for help? When can I not ask for help? The only I felt really safe doing that around was my dad and my grandparents. And so it really is an interesting thing because it's like I feel like we're not taught, even it's like, again, when you can ask for help, when is it, or even like when is it safe to ask for help? And I think especially for neurodivergent folks, that's a lot. And I'm talking to my other neurodivergent friends, and they all kind of agree that that's a similar thing. It's just like, or it's like, oh, you should know how to do that already. But it's like, again, that's that kind of that mentality, which makes it
shredding.
Yeah.
One thing I loved was when Sydney joined us for Employment Works. We were working with a piece of equipment, and was it a hole punch? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was a hole punch.
Hole punch. And they asked, like, it's been a while. Like, what do I need to do? And I was like, all right. And we just did it. And I loved that you asked. But you got me thinking. I had two parents who were similar in, well, what do you mean? What do you mean you need help with that? I've already shown you how to do that. I said, okay, well, like once is not enough, folks. Like I never thought about that fear factor that can get built up by the responses, and how we can either then begin to internalize, okay, I shouldn't, I should be smart enough to figure this out, is what messaging can start to happen. Or why can't I? No, I'm just gonna try it, and either blow up the dishwasher or like whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's really huge, Sydney. Thank you for sharing that. Because I never thought about how the response to asking for help can shape what that morphs into.
Yeah. I had I'm thinking about this now. Oh, therapy session. Hello. I think before I was 10, because there were so many things that I was doing that was way beyond my age, and I was like, oh wow, and it's a little kid, like, so the expectations were like, it didn't matter the things that I wasn't able to do, because like there was just such a difference between the things that I did in my peer age. But in my teen years, as I started struggling with some things, I learned to really hate this phrase that was used, especially by my mom, who I loved and was greatest cheerleader, but that's just common sense in the area that I couldn't do. And I used to say, if it was common, I'd have it.
You know what?
I don't get this. Yeah. And I think hearing that again and again, I think one of the things that I've learned over this last 50 years is that autism is found in the gaps between your strengths and your challenges, in the areas that, like, if you're there's an expectation that you're high functioning, you have the same strengths, your same level at all in all domains, or if you're low functioning, you have the same low expectations in all things. And this is not the way we are. We have areas that we may be really, really strong in, but then there's something that we really, really struggle with, and that's usually what I feel starting in my teen years, got picked up on the things that were there's so many things that I leaped over because I gained that knowledge really fast. I leapt over the things that I then struggled with through my life.
We talked about this one before so I'm despite appearances, pretty smart, and in gifted programs and all that other kind of good stuff.
Despite appearances?
It feels very braggy. It just feels very braggy when
you have a glow.
Apparently, because I'm pregnant. Apparently not smart enough not to get knocked up at 56, but you know.
I know, eh? Common sense.
Don't tell my husband. He'll think his vasectomy undid itself.
The resectomy.
Oh, that was good. Okay, what's that, 4? You're on a roll. But because I was smart and capable and cocky, people assumed that applied to everything. Mm-hmm. And so when I asked for help, one of the things that started stopping me from asking for help is the response I would get, which would be a face like what's wrong with you? Like, why would you need help with that when you can do this, 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 and this? And I wonder why we put a limit on help. Mm-hmm. Like, where did this come from that you can only ask for help at certain ages with certain things? Right? I've got somebody in it's board games night or job lab, one of them who has a real struggle tying their shoes. And they're like 30 plus. They have a permanent fine motor issue that makes it really challenging. And if somebody's brave enough to ask for help when you know they're an adult in tying their shoes, you need to assume that was a big deal for them to ask. Keep your face to yourself. Keep your thoughts to yourself and just say, I'd be happy to help you with that. Mm-hmm. Because there's nothing worse than asking for help and seeing that judgy little face come out. And, you know, we had this conversation. I did a coaching session in Quebec last week, and it was about recognizing emotion, but also recognizing facial expressions. And a lot of people assume that everybody on the spectrum can't read emotion or can't read facial expression. And that's 100% not true. So I gotta tell you, folks, if you come into a situation and somebody's asking for help and you know they're autistic, don't assume nothing. And I wonder how much assumption gets in the way of help.
I feel like it's like,
well, yeah.
I feel like it's like you could say like assumption that you can do something, assumption that you can do something, or assumption that you can't do something. Mm-hmm. And like you were saying, Elizabeth, like it's like, but you can do all these other things. Why can't you do that? And it's just
because I can't.
I think people think it's linear when it's not.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's like people think like I think because you said like help is based in skills and that, and so I think the linear progression. It's like people think it's a linear. It's like just because I'm good at one thing doesn't mean I'm good at another thing, or even like me, even that day, like with the hole punch. Like it's been a while, and I also had some brain fog that day, right? Mm-hmm. And so some days it's like some days I one day I could have been able to do it fine without your help. But sometimes it's like, I just need a quick, and I think a lot of times people assume that if you could do something once, you could do it all the time, but it's not the case, right? And
that's important.
So,
yeah,
that was really important because, sorry, Maddie, because you're right. Especially one of the things we've talked about previously is co-diagnoses and coexisting conditions and intersectionality. And there are days I'm in the pause. And for those of you that don't know what that means, it's menopause. It's taken a minute. And the days I have great energy and everything's firing on all 6 and brain is on fire and I'm having great ideas and getting stuff done. And I'm like, okay, I'm back. This is fantastic. 2 days later,
psych.
Yeah, psych. smack the smart
Talk
out of
about my fibromyalgia.
Yeah. And so maybe we assume, one, we shouldn't assume, but maybe we take a moment and consider that something else could be going on. And as far as I'm aware, asking for help doesn't have an age limit.
No, I mean, to be honest, I think the older we get, we hit it's like a bell curve. We need a lot of help as kids, and we're going to need a lot of help when we're older. But in the middle, we forget that. We forget that like help is still something that we need. And I'm thinking back in my own life. I always you're talking about making the face. Because there were some things that I picked up and was able to do just fantastically beyond my peer age, I would always be surprised that other people couldn't do what I could do. Like it threw me when I would see someone not able to do what I was doing, because for me it felt natural until I realized that, okay, maybe like everybody's got different things. And it took me decades to realize that everybody's at different levels. And I think having kids, of varying degrees of they're all over the place too, in terms of what they can achieve based on their age level. And it's, seeing that there's a mix, I think has helped me not expect anything from anybody, which allows me to be open for anything to be possible, but also for me to help when asked, or to see when people are struggling. But I made that face a lot when I was younger. A lot.
Yes, but okay. So I'm gonna jump to Mr. Coleman, because because Paul and Maddie are in a different situation, in that you have 4 kids each, right? And so there's less for me to compare, because I've only got 2. And so I think it's important when we come into being neurospicy parents to recognize, like, you get told each kid is different, which is true. But Paul, have you experienced that? Paul's got 3 daughters and
stand up and stretch. Let's take a break for 10 minutes.
Dun, 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 dun.
That's Paul asking
Paul was
for help.
waiting for this. Exactly.
So watching the clock. 10 o'clock's going to hit at some point. For context, Maddie has an alarm set up on Alexa that at 10 o'clock we move, and we do that. And Paul has only joined us once on the move dance, but that's okay. So you did.
You did. You
We
did
recorded
once.
it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But they also just put up a sign for help. So, Paul, you've got 3 daughters and 1 son, all doing a variety of things. Would you say you've noticed with your 4 kids different capacities about asking for help?
Yes.
Or what? Okay.
Without naming names, some of them have a propensity to ask for more help than others when they are fully capable. That's a really thing. That's like the thing I have the hardest time balancing. Is when my kids ask for help, and then how much help do you give as a parent? Because you got to figure this stuff out. I'm not going to be around forever. I'll give you an example. My son, who is in his 20s, early 20s, he has right hemi-CP. So he has limited use of his right hand and his right leg. He wears a brace on. So he still asks for help tying his shoes because his right hand is helper hand. Now, I understand that it is a challenge. He cannot tie his shoes the same as I can. But there are lots of people who have, without a helper hand, of one hand, who can tie their shoes. So I if we're running late and we have to go somewhere, I will help. But other times I'm like, dude, figure it out. Because it's interesting. I don't have a controller in front of me, but my son plays video games. And like I said, his right hand is a helper hand. So he holds the controller with his right hand.
Mm.
He uses the palm of his hand on the left joystick. He uses his finger on the right joystick and then controls all the buttons with his other fingers.
Ow.
And he's figured that all out. Like, that's brilliant, right?
Yeah.
Because it's something he loves and he had to figure it out. And he kicks my butt in video games. Like, he doesn't just know how to move the character. He obliterates me in Halo and other games like that. And I grew up as a gamer. I love to game. And anyway, it's really impressive. But refuses to figure out how to tie his shoes properly. Like, I know he can do it. And so that sometimes my frustration level, I feel like, okay, I should be more patient and offering help. But then there's other times where I'm like, if I just keep helping him, you know, when I'm not there, what's he going to do? Walk around with untied shoes? Like, you know what I mean? Like, or
sketch your slip-ons.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, we discovered, I discovered decades ago, Velcro. Because I one of the biggest things that I struggled with as a kid was tying my shoelaces, to the point where when I was in grade 2, my principal brought me into her office and spent hours with me over a couple of weeks teaching me to tie my laces. But it's still something that I struggle with. So when Velcro shoes came into existence, I've been wearing them ever since. And it's the same thing with my kids. They all struggle with, like, tying laces is, my God, it's a simple thing, yet it's so damn complicated. I can do knots. I can undo. Well, I can't do it now because I also only have the use of one hand, and my other hand is my only a helper. I have a shift key, but it's like I was always able to undo knots and do things intricately in other places. But my shoes, I remember my grandparents yelling at me because I couldn't do it.
Yeah, and it's not just shoes, right? That goes across
I know,
to other tasks and things. So that's, as a parent, I really struggle with over helping, right? Like being too available and too helping, whereas instead of just teaching. So that I do struggle with the help thing. Not so much, like I said, for myself. I like to ask for help when I need a body double, but not during like creative tasks. I more struggle with how much help to give.
Yeah. Ooh. The line between helping and enabling, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
I wonder if part of that as well is if we've grown up, I think that it's influenced by how we've grown up. I'm a mixed bag of tricks in helping. And it all depends on the individual asking. If somebody has asked for help multiple times and has made no effort on their own to figure some shit out, I start to lose patience. Because if I'm not seeing you making effort to do it, at some point, I'm just not going to anymore. Because the whole point of helping, in my view, is to help build skills and independence. Mm-hmm. And if you're asking for help, that's awesome. And I'll say that. Thank you for asking. How much help do you need? Because I'm a jump in, doer, get it done, whatever kind of gal. And I need to pull back and recognize that that's not always necessary. But by the same token, how do we watch that line of giving too much? I've seen this within the autism community in particular, where I see somebody's kid very differently than they see them, as it should be. As the parent, you know your kid way better than I ever will. But sometimes when you have an outside view, I really am glowy today. This is super weird. Sorry, distracting. You stop seeing capability. And I wonder if part of that is habit forming. Like, we've just gotten used to doing it. So Paul, the fact that you're still consciously aware that there should be a limit and you should provide opportunities. I'm really impressed that you're still aware of that line versus other parents I've seen who just default into doing it all the time. So the fact that you're still fighting the fight on that is awesome. Because, your son then knows he can ask, but.
Right. As a parental unit, I see a little bit of an imbalance, whereas maybe I'm a little too unwilling to give help, in not because I'm lazy or anything, but because I want them to do something. Whereas my wife will jump in and help solve. Yeah. And that's kind of I don't know how much of this I want to share, but like if you've ever had a child or a loved one that's in addiction, right? Same kind of a thing.
Yeah.
How much do you help them? How much do you, how much are you enabling by helping? It's a tough one. It's a tough one. And I thank God for my wife, because we balance each other out really pretty well. I'm willing to point out when she is over helping to her detriment, or our detriment sometimes. And she'll point out when I'm being a little too rigid and saying, like the tying the shoes thing.
Yeah.
She said to me the other day, she said, well, how do you think he feels at 22? Still having to ask to tie his shoes. So don't shame him for it. And I'm like, my intention is not to shame him, but like, I have to prepare him.
He's capable.
Right. Because we've gotten the elastic laces that have the little pull things, so that he doesn't like that because it looks different, and he likes tied shoes. So it's I keep going back to the shoelace thing, but it's a
really good.
It's a good analogy, or a good example. But
then, so you brought up something really important there, because in the moments that you're asking for help, at some point, what you're asking for help with might have alternatives. And if you have to continue asking for help with something to maintain normalcy, we'll use that, or whatever, at some point there needs to be a shift also in what we're asking for help for. So if we'll stick with the shoe tying, right? Because with shoe tying, we have Velcro, we have slip-ons, we have I personally love those pull things. I hate tying shoelaces. I can do it, but it's not my favorite. And then there's, I want to say 4 different options. So at what point does asking for help become a conversation about what's working and what's not working, and looking at something that can create independence and sort of reduce the friction around the helping? I can't think of other examples right now, but the shoe tying works really well. So how long do we go? This is not a judgment on what you're doing, Paul. This is in general. I'm just thinking, okay, at what point, regardless of what it is, do we go, this isn't working?
Yeah. And this is what I try to work with parents on, who are stuck on that the kid needs to do this thing. It's important for them to get this thing done.
Yeah.
But there's other, like, I look at the situation and I see other things that are more like
other places to put the energy.
Yeah. Sometimes we choose the hard thing to try to enforce, when there's other things that are like, there's a way to ameliorate this thing by doing something different, but there's other things that the kids need that we're maybe not focusing on. It's like, when it comes, like, another example is food. Some kids, they're food, eating particular things is a real challenge, but the parents feel that they need to have the experience of having other things, because if you're at a place and they give you this, well, you need to be able to eat it. And I'm like, but are the things that they like a challenge? Like, sometimes we get so focused in on what we feel we need to do that we don't easily accept a different approach. That's, yeah. I mean, my kids hate socks, so they only have to wear them when they got shoes, when they're going outside.
Yeah,
that was the challenge for other authority figures.
Just thought of something. I remember when my son was growing up that they, strongly suggested, or they said, buy him pants that have elastic waist because they'll have a hard time doing up buttons. Buy him shirts that are just pullover. Don't buy him button-up shirts and everything. And now you ask him, like you just asked me for some shorts, and if we were out, could we look for some shorts for him? And they were getting too small or whatever. And oftentimes I'll make him come with me because I want him to pick stuff out, give himself some control and independence. But we were out, and we found a couple pairs, and I said to him, like, what do you want? Do you want elastic waist or this style? And he showed me. He didn't want elastic waist. I don't want these ones. And I'm wondering if that's why he's so opposed to the elastic shoelaces and Velcro and stuff, is that he was.
Yeah. It
wasn't until he was older and could show his own independence and pick his own stuff that he picked pants that button up and things like that. Even though it's more of a struggle to do them up, it's to him maybe even subconsciously it's him trying to be normal kind of thing, right? Not to advertise his challenges. I don't know. I just thought about that.
No, that's cool. Mm-hmm. We had the same thing. My son has a fine motor visual integration challenge, which means that his fine motor skills for writing in particular are it's pretty bad. However, he can do really fine Play-Doh work or fine artwork or whatever. I'm not sure he wasn't diagnosed with dysgraphia, which is difficulty writing, but I think it's more likely to be dysgraphia versus an overall fine motor issue because his other fine motor skills. But with clothing and things, I think it's how it's presented, Paul. That was actually, I never thought about it that way. The stuff that people say to our kids with challenges who are authority figures, I'm using air quotes, specialists, people that, are supposed to know better, can really shape what they think about themselves and their capabilities. And some kids will fall into learned helplessness and just default to people doing things for them because that's what they've been taught to do. We've said before that compliance is easier for people in authority positions than raising somebody like my kid and Paul's son who goes, nah, this is what I'm doing over here.
Yeah.
And it will be a struggle. And the fact that Paul's son has been able to, right, video gaming, like that's a huge fine motor development thing. And especially with only having one hand in the game.
Yeah.
But I wonder how important that language is around help to folks either asking for it or, like me, I ran away from help for a very long. If you asked me to help, that meant I was weak. That meant I was vulnerable. I couldn't trust you to give me the help that I needed. And I couldn't trust my voice to tell you what I needed because in past, when I'd asked for help, I had heard, who said the common sense thing?
Maddie.
Yeah.
Moi.
Why can't you do that? It's common sense. It's so easy. You should be able to do that. So I stopped asking. And it would take everything on God's green earth to get me to ask for help because the response in the past had not been awesome. And why would I want to put myself in a position of being shamed or put down or whatever?
Yeah.
Yet I don't have that when people ask me for help.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Were you ever told that there's no such thing as a stupid question?
Yeah,
I learned that that's not actually true, and what people consider stupid is a very relative thing. And thank you, subjective. Yeah, so many phrases, right? That we were given to pacify us.
But
neuter us.
So I was in Quebec last week, and that's where I grew up for some formative years. And out of the blue, and if you're French, and I apologize if this is rude, There's a couple of swear words you got to be careful with. And one I hadn't heard in forever. And as soon as the person said it, I was like, holy moly. It was tap out whip. But it's the same thing. As soon as you said, what? It's common sense.
Mm-hmm.
I immediately felt smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's such a powerful, awful expression to use on somebody.
Just language in general, especially around help, is a really... So part of the reason that we're talking about this is that anybody who's grown up neurospicy or with a challenge of some kind, if you've had the help smacked out of you, asking for help is one of the strongest things you can do. And it's strong because it's a vulnerable thing to do. It requires a trust situation going on. Mm-hmm. And if you have been multiplied times, either had a phrase used against you or somebody's, like I'm again, not a patient person. So I'm sure on more than one occasion, if my kids were standing here, they would be nodding that I wasn't as patient as I could have been. I know my parents weren't. Teachers, all of that kind of thing. Let's not assume a bias towards incapability. Mm-hmm. So if somebody's asking for help, it doesn't mean they're incapable everywhere. It means they have a gap and they're asking for assistance to fill it with a skill of some kind. If somebody's asking, I guess contextually, just take a pause. Like if somebody's asking for your help, that's a big deal. Mm-hmm. And it's a responsibility to try and figure out how to handle it. Maybe not solve it. I'm a big solver. So I try and say, do you need me to help you come up with a solution or do you need me to just listen?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is hard.
Yeah.
So hard.
You're such a doer. You're a problem solver.
Sometimes I hear what they think the solution is. And in my head, I'm like, oh.
There's 1,001 ways to skin a dead cat.
Yep. And you just came up with 99 and a half of them that aren't going to work. But I want to try and lead the person to discovering that they have the ability to figure it out. Versus telling them, I try and be curious. I try and ask questions to help the person get to what might be I'm using the word right, but a good answer. I don't know. Has anybody got some final wise words on help other than it's awesome?
I think that the key thing that I'm trying to teach my kids is to, like when they're younger, I'm going to balance the doing versus, getting them to learn.
You don't have kids anymore, Maddie.
I know that. But as they've approached the adult world, I'm trying to get them to, like they say they have a problem, and I get them to think through it, and in the end, that's the help that I'm giving them, is helping them figure out the process to be able to do things, because they all know, like the expression that I use with parents and caregivers is, who's the adult in the room? You're the ones responsible for helping the situation, like fixing the problem. When they're an adult, they're the adult. So when they're the adult, they need to be able to have these skills to know when to ask for help and know when to know how to do that. How, like, even the process of learning how to ask for the right help is a big thing, right? Saying help without knowing what you need, that's when you're younger. Help for this and this and this. That's the maturity that they need. That's, everybody needs that as they're growing older. You have to be able to, like this, I said earlier, I've learned to, like, I need to be able to be helped in order to get help.
Ooh, that's a t-shirt. And Paul and I have, we've all similar things. I love that you have that mindset. And I say this to parents who are enabling help with this, is that we all have an expiration date. It's not a if, it's a when, that we are not going to be here to be able to do these things for you. And I'm not trying to be mean, sometimes it really hangs heavy in your heart when you have to be mean and not do it. I used to get in so much trouble for forcing Thomas to do certain things.
Mhm.
And even when he was young and newly diagnosed, I'd be like, I'm not going to be around forever. My dad died at 50. I could have a ticking time bomb in my head somewhere. I need to give him as much as I can now, because I grew up knowing that could be taken away. And I used to get the gears from my family for being so tough on him. And I got to tell you, folks, and all of us that are, and Oreo has a lot of skills, but we're going to get to Oreo in a second. But all of us have kids from that toughness who are completing school and who are driving and who are in relationships and who are managing bills and life and all of those things. And if you need help, if you're the caregiver in this situation and it's hanging heavy, one of the best examples you can set is asking for help for yourself. I didn't realize how little I did that until my son called me out on it a couple of years ago. And he said, well, Mom, you don't ask for help for anything. I was like, oh shit. Uh-oh. Ruh-roh, Ruby. Ruh-roh. And I just watched Deadpool, so that's the other. And I had to sit down with him and go, buddy, I'm sorry you haven't seen that, but I ask for help all the time. Whether it's, business, personal, or whatever. Sorry, Paul, was there a thought there?
Just the one thing that being that it's Men's Mental Health Month, that's another big part of asking for help, is that there's nothing wrong with asking for help when you need it. Yeah. In fact, it's very, very important.
Yeah. We want you here. That's for anybody listening. We want you here. Sydney, any final wise words on asking for help?
Yeah, I think what I was going to say is that we all have, I think from how we all have diverse needs, and how, again, we don't have all the answers. And so I think being okay with asking for help within yourself, and then, kind of when someone is asking you for help, it's like it may be a time that you need to ask for help, right? And so just being mindful that every day might look different, and that different skill sets are different, and just it's okay to ask for help, and it's okay if someone's asking you for help.
Yeah, 100%. And thank you, Paul, for bringing up the mental health component. Yes. Maybe that could be another topic for next week. I forgot about that, so thank you for bringing that up. There's just so many ways, folks. I don't know if HELP's an acronym for something. I know FINE is, and it's not a nice acronym, but FINE stands for fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. So if somebody's asking for help and they tell you they're fine, take a moment. Take a moment.
Is that opposed to being fine?
Oh, you can be fine.
Fine.
Yeah, if somebody's not saying fine with some snap and they're just saying, yeah, I'm fine, take a moment.
Yeah.
Take a moment. I try and answer when somebody asks me how you doing. I try and remember to say, I'm well, thank you. Because that reinforces to me that I'm doing okay. Thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate it. We are the Riff Raff team. We are the Riff Raff Pirates. And Maddie has just finished recording our intro. So we're now going to get up all the podcasts that have been in the can. So you're going to hear a lot of us.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us thank you for joining us while we sail the ship on the neurospicy waters.
Could that be our wrap up every time?
Oh, sure.
Oh, I like it. Okay. I'm gonna press stop. We'll talk to y'all soon. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, nobody hears a wave.
Bye.
They do
Every
if it
time,
crashes.
Paul.
They do hear a wave if it crashes against the boat we're on.
Sure. Bye, everybody. Hey, this is Elizabeth Blue from Spiro, Canada, one of your pirates on the Riff Raff podcast team. My fellow pirates include Maddie Dever from Autistic Bridge, Sydney Elaine Butler from Accessible Creates, and Paul Coleman from Creation Designs, who is our very own Arctic LARPing Santa. Thank you for joining us on the Neurospicy Seas, and we wish fair winds to you all.